Um, so we've kind of talked about like some behavioral signs under the fight, flight, freeze, fawn umbrella. Let's talk about trauma in the body. What does that look like?
It can look like a lot of things, and we alluded to some of them,
Hmm.
being that exhaustion, agitation. It can also look like aches and pains.
Yeah.
Um, it can show up as inflammation,
Hmm.
certain areas. And it's a big thing because it's a issue in modern medicine when being able to manage pain. Now they want to not over medicate people, right? But pain can be a huge emotional disturbance, right? It can really disrupt a lot of your life because I'm only focused on this pain, but
Yeah.
trauma can get trapped in certain places and make recovery even more difficult.
Hmm.
Disrupt. I have some clients that I work with when we're doing some processing with EMDR, it lives like in their lower back.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
when they're activated, when they're in this trauma response, now my back is aching or my shoulders, right? You were telling me about your
Hmm.
client.
Earrings. Hmm.
Your body starts tensing up
Yeah.
and because it's ready to do something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And not only like the lower back, I get a lot of people where they feel it in their gut and they'll say like, I feel so nauseous, I feel sick to my stomach is in knots, like those kinds of things, even the chest area. And I
Mhm.
hear you saying like in medicine, they want to do management around that. And I'm just thinking like migraines, like
Oh,
who
yeah.
is functioning and wants to be well when they have a migraine? Like that is so emotionally distressing. Which is another key indicator of like how trauma can show up in the body.
Yeah.
I was actually at an event this weekend and I was talking about stress management, right?
Mhm.
And I had the opportunity to talk to a dentist. And
Okay.
teeth clenching is a thing.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I do it.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And so he was talking about, seeing that in his profession, like how people hold it in their mouth, like clenching their teeth, and it really messes with the enamel and like
Right.
fillets fall out, and it's just a big thing. And I'm like, wow, like, I know it's a thing,
Yeah.
but I can only imagine what dentists see around like just how trauma is held in the mouth.
Yep. For a long time when I had a permanent retainer, my
Mm,
orthodontist was like, cracked again, because I kept cracking and working in a trauma center where you're seeing a bunch of stuff, how my physical reaction was just to remain tense because I needed to be alert and ready.
yep.
But for folks who are maybe perhaps not working in a trauma center, that's their daily experience is to live with have a normal level of tension that is persistent in their body,
Mm-hmm.
your muscles will get achy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For
You
sure.
feel tired, right? If there are the stress hormone cortisol that is like constantly pumping,
Yes.
it's saying, okay, what we need to do now?
Yep.
What issue we responding to? What threat?
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're in your bed trying to sleep
Trying
and
to
there is
sleep.
no threat.
Yeah. And then that leads to like the overeating, right? Because your body needs energy. So you got to continue to consume food to keep those cortisone levels pumping,
Mhm.
and all of the things.
Right.
Um, Another thing that I feel like people don't recognize enough is like the dry mouth, right? Like
Mhm.
feeling like the dryness of the mouth. That's another sign of like distress or like a trauma response,
Mhm.
or that tension that's held. And I was in maybe it was like a consultation group. I can't remember, but they were talking about when your tongue fills your mouth, like when you're sitting there and your whole tongue fills your mouth versus allowing it to rest to the bottom.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's so interesting.
Uh-huh.
Because there is a difference, right?
Yeah.
And so again, like that's another way where just small things that point to tension. or
Right.
trauma.
Right. It could also look like folks who get a lot of colds or infections,
Mm,
that your
mhm,
body is having a harder time fighting those things off. Um, so looking at, people who have been hospitalized 3 times in a year,
yep.
pretty significant. Or if you're getting a cold quarterly,
Mhm,
or folks who get like cold sores,
mhm,
your body is responding to persistent, perceived, or real. And we want to keep saying that because there are some people who are under real threat all the time, of like threat of housing insecurity, threat of not being able to have enough money to buy groceries, or
yeah,
threat of health. Like some
yes,
people have health conditions that are poorly managed and not sure if they're gonna be well
right.
enough to be there for their kids. They're the threat
Domestic
of
violence.
mhm,
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
employment. There's a lot of different real threats, and there are a million more perceived threats
mhm,
that don't get acknowledged. So pay attention to your appetite changes, your stomach digestive changes,
mhm,
whether you're like persistently constipated, or the opposite, having diarrhea pretty frequently. Pay attention to how often you get colds
mhm,
and
mhm,
any other type of infections that you're responding to.
mhm.
Your sleep.
Those are good ones because that points to like that immune system, right? Like, okay, I'm not, my immune system is breaking down, so I'm sick. I'm getting, headaches. I'm not able to digest. I'm always in the hospital. Flu season, I'm always getting the flu. Those kinds of
Right.
things are things to look out
ER visits are normalized, like a common experience, when really that should be really rare
for.
to
Rare.
need emergency care.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. One ER visit in a year is pretty significant, but we look at, there's some people who have pretty regular visits. It can look
yeah,
monthly. Um, we
yeah,
don't talk about that. We just say, okay, they're back home now.
yeah.
What's going on in between?
And that's so interesting that you say that because my sister, she used to work for ER,
Mhm.
and she would say people would come into ER, but it wouldn't be an emergency. So now you have my wheels spinning. I'm like, I wonder what that's about. Um, like,
They
are they in a
perceive
fight?
it to be a threat, a real
Exactly,
danger.
exactly.
But your body is experiencing something really critical that is actually not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So sometimes it is an actual emergency and sometimes it is not. And those are some red flags to look out for. Like, is this really an emergency or am I like what's happening here?
Right, right. Can I schedule an appointment with my doctor tomorrow rather than
Mm-hmm.
sitting in a
Yeah,
lobby for about 10 hours?
exactly.